Welcome to INN CEO Talks. Joining me today is Morgan Lekstrom, the President and CEO of Silver HAMR Mining. Silver HAMR Mining is a junior mining company advancing the past-producing Silver Strand mine in the Coeur d'Alene mining district in Idaho. As well, two of the company's other projects, the Eliza Silver Project and the Silverton Silver Mine, are both in one of the world's most prolific mining jurisdictions, which is, of course, Nevada. Morgan, welcome back.
Thanks for having me in the live studio.
You're most welcome. Well, it's great to have you here because we get to have a different kind of more in-depth dialogue. You're doing some pretty interesting things right now. Let's bring viewers up to date right now, starting in Coeur d'Alene, and then we'll move to your projects in Nevada.
Sure, yeah. We really only got Silver HAMR going in late June last year. We listed on the exchange in about May, but I myself joined the company in late June. We brought in the Silver Strand asset in Coeur d'Alene, just outside Coeur d'Alene in Idaho, past-producing silver mine with a bit of a gold overprint on it. Same rocks, the Revette Formation as Lucky Friday and Sunshine. These monster mines that started companies like Hecla and Coeur. These are where those companies started, and it's still one of the highest producing silver districts in the world. And so we picked up this project called Silver Strand. It only ever been mined down to 90 meters. And when I say down, they actually mined vertical up and left it. They weren't able to consolidate the land package. We were able to successfully consolidate it. Now starting to test surface, realizing there's a lot of potential on surface. There's all these outcrops that are having gold and silver in them at very, very strong grades. We quickly advanced into an underground rehabilitation program. And then we put a drill in the underground in late November, last year, like within 4 months of getting the project, and drilled 6 holes, all in strong mineralization, starting at about 13 meters below surface. So having what we consider high grade for that near surface allowed us to now go out and retarget new targets on the underground. And so we're planning a drill program starting here shortly in the underground, and then also starting on surface. So it's pretty exciting for Silver Strand because a lot of those mines in that area are 100 to 300 million ounces produced silver, lead, zinc, copper, you name it. But this is a prolific area, and this is one of those targets that people didn't necessarily have the same vision as we did on how we want to consolidate, how we want to approach it. And with my background being the mine builder background, we get to look at it a bit different.
Well, you've been in that situation before where people have looked at a resource thinking, maybe it's there, maybe it's not. But in Mongolia, you saw that through to producing or creating one of the largest gold mines in the world. So you've been here before. Yeah,
and most of my experience is more on the technical side, leading project groups, engineering groups, and the exploration side. So we have people on our team. Like we brought Ron Burke on our board. He was the ex-vice president of Centerra, ex-vice president of exploration for Silver Standard, now SSR Mining. He is a legend in the industry for finding high-grade silver projects. So we have that. We have our chief geologist, Phil Mulholland. So then we have a row of capital market experts like Jonas Lang and Warwick Smith in the background that help put this together with that triple-pronged approach, kind of like we have 3 assets.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about Nevada.
Absolutely. So we got going with Silver Strand in Idaho, and we had this amazing opportunity presented to us. We weren't necessarily looking for assets at the time, and it was 2 past-producing assets. One's called the Eliza Project. We brought them both in September. So the Eliza Project's in the past-producing historic Hamilton district. This area produced roughly 40 million ounces of silver from about 1868 to 1872. You can imagine just about 40 million ounces, that's all hand to mouth. You can imagine the grades during that time. They were very, very high grade. We picked up the bottom part of that property, so less exploration has been done there, no modern exploration in modern times, over 120 years. And all the mines on our property have produced between 5.5 and 18,500 grams a ton silver equivalent, as per the USGS registry. And we had this philosophy looking at it going, well, hold on. If they didn't have geophysics back then, they didn't have modern exploration, we have a unique opportunity to go out there and start searching. So we did. We started doing a very light program as we brought it in late September. And we found not only was there high-grade silver on that property, we're getting 1,500 grams a ton in chip samples, not grab, but chip samples. we found, between 5 and 7% copper, multiple percentages of lead and zinc. So it's a very unique area. And we think that there's potentially a copper porphyry there. So not only that high-grade potted silver, but the porphyry potential at Eliza. And that brings us down to Silverton, the last part of our portfolio. It's about an hour and 20 minutes from Tonopah, that Walker Lane kind of trajectory area. Past producing silver mine in 1930, kind of dropped off with the war. And boom, no one's gone back. It's a very common theme in Nevada. Everyone follows these huge trends. We're going to follow the Cortez. We're going to follow this, and they forget about these other areas, especially in silver, because there's not a lot of silver companies out there. So, again, we picked up that property. We went and did some boots on the ground work. We more than doubled, actually tripled the land claim package recently. We just did some drill targeting, and we're actually fully permitted to drill it now as well. So it's going to be pretty exciting this year.
So why gold, silver, copper being important minerals now? What do you see happening in the market that says now's the time to be moving back into these basic and base metals?
Yeah, so it's not like any other fundamental time in history, right? When you would have gold and silver, mainly silver, it was a commodity, it was a hedge, right? They'd use it for trading, they'd use it for jewelry. Now about 50% of it, and that's increasing every day, usage is industrial. So as we go into this green revolution, you see what's happening with lithium, nickel, copper. Silver's lagging still, but by 2030, we're in a serious supply deficit. We're already in a supply deficit, but we'll get into a serious supply deficit. And when you look at what's going on in the macro situation in the world and where we're sourcing materials, there is no better place to me than being in North America, United States, Canada, but right in the heart of the best mining jurisdiction in the world, than starting to, hopefully produce silver out of there locally, right? And giving back to that local economy and bringing in those strong environmental standards and just managing it on a local basis and not having that not in my backyard mentality. I want it in my backyard and I want it done right.
So how is the Biden administration, and even before Biden, Trump was saying we need to protect our ability to access these basic and most important resource metals to ensure that we can continue to fuel the American economy. How important is it that you're in Nevada, especially with the current mindset in the United States?
So, and you'll see the current mindset's changed a bit, right? So as Biden came in, they were not so pro-mining, and then all this escalation happened with Russia. You're seeing the supply deficits from China now, right? People are going, wait a minute, this is something I talk about all the time, and I firmly believe this. As the developed nations, Canada, US, other countries, we need to focus on energy independence. And to me, that is producing commodities, producing energy locally, right. Then you globalize. So I think we're seeing the reverse of that. We're seeing deglobalization because we farmed everything out. Now we're like, oh darn, oh man, where are we getting stuff from? And I think being in Nevada is a prime example for that. High-grade deposits all over the place. Silver, copper, gold, lithium, nickel. It's such a hodgepodge of amazing opportunities. And I'm happy we're there, right? It's same with Idaho. Really, really strong silver, lead, zinc, and people underestimate the value of zinc. They're like, oh, what's that? Well, you kind of need it in everything.
Everything.
You need silver in everything. You need copper in almost everything nowadays. Lithium with the batteries. You need phosphates. You need a whole bunch of different, even rare earths are starting, in the US, they're starting to put a lot of incentives around finding rare earths because they want to control that locally. Most of the rare earths are from China. Mm-hmm. So it creates a really interesting dynamic.
So you have 3 different projects. You're ambitiously going after each of them. Do you have the financing that you need to be able to carry out your plans? Or do you envision going back for another round of financing?
We're a junior mining company, right? You'll always see the same thing. We're financed fairly well, and we are looking to get going on all our projects. So, Silver Strand being our flagship, we'll get a drill in there here, and most likely this month. We've prepaid a bunch of our drilling already. We have a very strong relationship with a drill contractor, which, that's a big problem in the U.S. right now is finding drillers. I had people phone me all the time. Can you get a drill? I'm a year out. I'm like, I've got 2 if I need them. But we have a really strong relationship with this drill contractor that we've cultivated over this past year, and so that allows us to, do things a little bit different, right? We prepaid our drilling. He's bought a drill for us. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting, right? When you start looking at the rest of our Nevada projects, yeah, of course, you need to add money to the till to do this, but the way I want to do it isn't the typical way of, just start putting money in the ground. I want to do it methodically. I want to bring in concurrent process, doing the met testing, doing some pre-engineering in the background to understand what you actually need to build a mine versus just trying to blow out a massive resource. There is massive resource potential on all three of these properties, especially Silver Strand, but understanding all the next steps. We are so fortunate in that jurisdiction that there's a mill close by, that this ore has been processed before from the old historic mining group.
Right.
So, and when I mean ore, I mean historically from their mining, not ours. And that gives us a leg up. It gives us a leg up from my side of it, gives us a leg up from the exploration side, and now we're going to hopefully make this that transitional year for us.
You've built mines before. What's your plans here? Or do you envision building out the mine, or can you see, vending in with a major?
It's funny. I always see CEOs struggle with that question. Like, oh, I don't know. I just don't want to sell it. I maybe sell it. To me, I want to build a leading silver company.
Yeah.
I want to build a leading mining company, and I want to do what's in the best interest of the shareholders. If a major comes along and puts an offer in and it's right, hey, you do what's in the best interest of the shareholders. But my main focus right now is making these large and making them into production in a very short order. I don't want to be 20 years doing this. I want to be 5 years and be producing. I want to follow the kind of Keith Neumeyer profile of get in there, get it done.
Well, investors will be asking right now, okay, when are you going to come back to us with more news? Because, your enthusiasm is definitely infectious, and I want to know more. What's your timeline here before we'll get some results coming back?
So we just finished up a small program at Eliza, and we have a large program going on there right now. Mm-hmm. We just finished up a program at Silverton, so you'll see this news starting to trickle out. Once we start drilling, you'll start to see more news. I anticipate it to be just like last year. I joined in June, and we had 48 very strong press releases before, well, it was about 48, before the end of the year. And I want to continue on the trajectory because not only is it important to keep the excitement around the story, but it's important to keep investors aware that we're actually doing stuff. We're working, we're keeping going. And we're not just burning on the back end. I hate burning on the back end. I'd rather burn on the front end of concurrent process, of drilling, of doing meaningful work and making sure that whatever we're doing, we have that vision, that path. So,
well, wonderful. I'm hoping you'll come back soon and give us updates.
That's the plan. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.